Religion necessarily involves having faith about certain claims. Otherwise, there's no difference between religion and things like philosophy and science. But philosophy uses reason to investigate some of the same things as religion. Is philosophy opposed to religion? Let's consider. Hello, philosophers. I'm Chico, and welcome to the Philosopher Show, where we consider the greatest questions of human history. Recently, I was having coffee with a friend of mine. He's a philosopher, but he's also a person of faith. And he voiced this concern to me. Does being religious mean that I'm worse of a philosopher? I can't remember exactly what we were talking about at the time, but here's an example of a possible reason. The mind-body problem is this. Do I have a non-physical mind that is distinct from my body? One possibility is no. We're just bodies. Now, the non-religious philosopher can consider all the possibilities, but for at least some religious philosophers, it seems like they're going to have to dismiss that case. So here's the problem. It seems like philosophers should be open to consider anything, but religious people can't consider certain things. So religious people aren't as good of philosophers. Now, one possible answer is that you can compartmentalize the two. You can say, I do my philosophy over here, but when it's time to do my religion, I do it over here. I put on my philosophy hat and I do one thing, my religion hat and do another thing. So I can believe two competing things, and that's something that some people do. Personally, I can't live that way. I feel like I'm not taking my religion or my philosophy seriously. And further, I think there is a potential clash here. Religion and philosophy don't seem to differ in the kinds of claims they make. They want to say that the world is like such. For example, that the world contains souls or minds or whatever you want to say. But they differ in the reasons that they believe it. Religion is faith in an authority. Philosophy is reasoning to a conclusion. So it seems like they're talking in the same realm, and therefore it's kind of difficult to compartmentalize these two things. One objection to this argument that I happen to buy is this. It assumes that the goal of philosophy is to be open-minded. Now, don't get me wrong here. Oftentimes, I think being open-minded is essential to a philosopher. But I also agree with G.K. Chesterton. The goal of having an open mind is the same as the goal of having an open mouth, so that you can close it on something solid. Personally, my goal is to get my beliefs closer to the way the world actually is. Now, I can do this in a variety of ways. I can use empirical exploration, like science does, using your senses to see what's out there. Eyewitness testimony. So if you have enough trustworthy people that say that they saw a particular thing, and this is much like what we have in history. And in philosophy, I use my reason to get my beliefs closer to reality. But in all of these, the ultimate goal is actually the same. So to reject science or history just to keep our minds open seems like going against that goal. For example, atomism was an ancient philosophy that said all macro level things are built up of smaller, indivisible particles that we can't see with the naked eye. Now, it's a lot more complicated than that. But imagine I rejected science's findings just because I wanted to keep my mind open to all the different possibilities. Using philosophy alone, I want to be able to tell those things. That seems absurd, right? It seems like science has done us a service. It's cut out a bunch of theories we no longer have to consider on our path to getting our beliefs closer to reality. Now, the claim of religion is that it uses faith to get your beliefs closer to reality as well. A religion says there's some reason you should trust what it has to say about the way the world is. And this is much like eyewitness testimony. Now, assuming that the religion is right, that there are good reasons you should actually believe what it has to say, then number one, faith is actually a good thing for philosophy because it brings you closer to your goal of getting your beliefs closer to reality. And number two, rejecting it just to keep your mind open would be contrary to your whole goal in philosophy in the first place. Now, this definitely begs the question, is the religion right? And maybe none of them are. Maybe you shouldn't believe any of them. But that's a question to ask about each specific religion. There's no reason that faith is automatically a bad thing for philosophers. And in fact, if the faith is correct, then it's actually a good thing. To believe that faith is automatically bad for philosophy, you have to show either that each individual religion is in fact incorrect, or that all religion necessarily is incorrect. Now, definitely people disagree with me, but personally, I haven't seen this done successfully yet. But let me know what you think. Does faith get in the way of philosophy? Remember, best philosophy happens in dialogue. So let me know in the comments. Also, like, subscribe, and please tag a friend so they can join this conversation. And that's all I got for today. Adios.